Alright, hello fun and welcome back to my developer vlog series, where today we're going to be looking at all the progress I've made in the past 2 weeks on our project, StrateZ. And I am pretty excited as to the progress that has been made. Now, when I started this whole project, I actually did make a timeline with all of my different points I'd like to hit by certain dates, and we are currently ahead of schedule. And I'm very happy about that, as things are going mostly smoothly. I do have a few issues we'll talk about that are kind of putting me back a little bit, but overall, we're ahead. Now, my main plan for the last 2 weeks was to take all of the units that we have created and all of the buildings we've created, and at the very least, create a fully functioning zombie faction that I could place on the demo map that comes with the RTS engine and get it to work. Now, if possible, I'd also hope to get the Survivor faction working, as it should be. And, yeah, I did both of those a lot quicker than I had hoped and thought. And so, I was able to also get our test map that I had created as a functional map. So we actually not only have proper factions, but I now have my own functioning map, with not only our factions in here. As you can see, we've got the Survivor command post over here in the junkyard area. We've got the zombie body pile over here, but we also do have, scattered around the map, a variety of mindless shamblers for you to deal with, and they will wander around in these general areas. Currently, I believe I have 20 of them. Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. Actually, I can check that real quick. Unit map. Yeah, 20. We got 20. I plan on adding more, but for the time being, I kind of wanted to add them in like key zones. So I've got like 5 in the trailer park area, 5 like immediately by the body pile. Then I've got like another 10 in here in the city, another 10 over here by like the highway and everything. And I plan on adding probably like another 5 or 10 this way and 5 or 10 over this way, just to really have plenty in there for both factions to have to deal with. And the factions themselves, oh, they work. They work. Let's actually start up the game and start with the zombies, which, as the player, you can use them just fine. Now you'll notice I'm still using the default audio files that come in the kit, but the zombies themselves, as you can see, they move around with the zombie sort of shambling animation and start whacking the flesh pile, and they will collect flesh and take it back to the body pile. Now, one issue I'm having with that at the moment, you can see he's kind of going around. He shouldn't be. He should be dropping it off at the closest point. So that's one thing I've got to look into, but he does collect flesh. We also have our body pile that I can, place this cone around for the units to go to when created. If we go into God mode here, we can create a couple of shamblers, and there we go. They'll go over there, and I can turn this one into a hulker, this one into an infector, and this one into a runner. And right now, their basic stats are functional. The hulker is half the speed of a shambler, but 3 times the health and twice the damage. We then also have the infector, who does have a damage over time attack, which is infinite. So for, I think it's every couple of seconds, I think I have it set to every 5 seconds, forever the enemy takes damage. A small amount, but over time it'll whittle them down so they may die in their own base.
Destroy them.
And then we have the runner, who's the same health as a shambler, but twice the speed and the same damage. And that all is functioning. And it works. My one problem is the AI, besides just him dropping off the stuff in the wrong spot, which actually let's make, didn't mean to make him into a hulker. Let's make a couple of more scavengers there, put them all on the body pile and see how they all react. But the big problem I'm having with these guys right now is when the AI controls them. That's sort of my point where I'm not entirely sure what's going on with them, is with a computer controlling the AI, because the shamblers are resource collector units and builder units, and all of these guys are combat units. The AI doesn't seem to like upgrading them. Whenever it upgrades this shambler to any of these 3, it sort of craps out the whole resource collecting AI, So any zombies who are currently resource collecting will continue to, but any new ones that get built just stand around waiting for combat orders. And it's weird, and I'm really not sure how to fix that. I may have to create a new unit and have a zombie drone is what I'm thinking. A drone who just does resource collection and building. I wanted to avoid that because I like the idea of the zombie faction being a bit more simplistic and everything coming from one base zombie. So I'm really hoping to fix the AI issue, but if not, yeah, we may have to go the drone route. But yeah, you'll see some of them actually are delivering to the closest point, and some of them are going around, and I'm not sure why they're doing that. That's another thing I have to figure out. Now, AI-wise, the survivors, oh, they work. They work just fine. Now, there does need to be a lot of tweaking, but they are functioning. They're building buildings, they're collecting resources, and they're doing what they need to do. And once they have this, well, they're bringing the building a triage first? Maybe I should change the timer on that. Once they do build an army, they do make an army, they will spread out and start killing these mindless shamblers. So they're actually functioning pretty well. I just gotta do tweaking on like changing their timers on when they should build certain buildings, what buildings they should build first and last, and all that sort of stuff. Now you can see I did actually change the building animation. It used to just be like I'd have the tent here built for the triage and then the rest of the supplies would come through the ground. I added this police tape around it. So that's what all the buildings do now. They have the police tape and then the whole building comes up through the top. But yeah, that works pretty darn well. Now let's actually jump out of here and go back to the factions and start controlling the survivors to talk more about them and the changes I've made there. So let's jump in. And yeah, you'll notice in a little bit once we go look at the zombies, they'll just stop. Like for now, he'll start collecting here in a second. He'll start building shamblers. There they go. They're gonna do their thing, but eventually once they upgrade, they just stop. I don't know why. But yeah, over to the survivors. Our guy went and started auto-collecting, because that is his thing. And I actually did change the scavenger a bit. If we build a couple of more of these guys, again, we got a cone here to place where they go to.
Hello.
And have him collect, and the last one will actually do upgrading.
Hello.
I actually created a tree for the scavenger. And my current idea is that the scavenger will, well, scavenge for supplies. And he can also build, but he's not going to be a fast builder. So for that, I have made an upgrade to the engineer. And once he's an engineer, he will, oh, I should turn on God mode. There we go. Once he's an engineer, he has a nice little backpack, and his weapon turns from a crowbar to a hammer. And he'll still go and scavenge for supplies, but he's not as good at it. He can't carry as many. But on the other hand, with his hammer, he's better at building, so he'll build a lot more quickly than the scavenger will. And because you may have to go out in the distance to build an outpost for your people, I made another upgrade for him to, come back here you, a battle engineer. So now rather than the hammer as his weapon, he has a pistol. Now he still has all the other same stats, but yeah, he does have that pistol in hand. It works pretty nicely. Now let's take a look at the command post. It of course is the same deal. Now we can build it anywhere you want, but of course it's really made for being built outside of your border here, which is the build limit, so that you can create outposts. And as you can see on the map, we have another border over here now, nicely spreading out our kind. And then yeah, you can do your things over here as well, so that works. You may actually also notice the models have changed. They're still all the same models, but I made the shipping containers here smaller. Because when I was playing around with building like a forward base to attack the zombies with, I realized how large the shipping containers were compared to the buildings. Like they were the size almost of like 2 stories on this motel. So I made all the shipping containers a lot smaller, also made in general the models more compact so you could fit them more places more easily, especially once you get into dense city areas. But yeah, that's worked well. We then have the bunks, so of course a population building by default, adding 5 to our population. If we build another one there. There we go. We also have an upgrade for the bunks to turn it into a barracks to add an additional 5 on top of that. So if we click that, boom, we have barracks now, providing more population.
Hello.
Now then after that we have our armory. More or less it's the same deal, but it is a bit smaller, more compact than it was before. We've got the cone we can place here for our troops, and if we build a couple of these guys, there we go. Now, they have their own little troop tree at the moment, just with one upgrade for the time being. You can see here we can add an ACOG sight to the militia and a bipod to the hunters, both of which will have the effect of increasing their firing range. That's what I decided to go with for that. I'll probably add in some power upgrades later, but for right now, if we do upgrade these, it will upgrade all of them. And so now these guys have the bipods, these guys have their ACOG sights, and that's working out pretty well.
Hello.
Now let's take a look next at the triage center. Now, similarly with the scavenger, we do have our medic we can build, and then we have a combat medic we can upgrade him to. So he has a gun, so he's more safe out in the world. Ooh, and I actually should talk about both the scavenger and the medic. When they only have a melee weapon, they will attack. So you can click on an enemy, they will go fight it, but the second they take damage, they will run away. I added that into their AI because, you know, they can jump in all, you know, heroic-like, but the moment they take damage, they're like, oh god, I'm not a combat unit, run away! And I liked the idea of that. But yeah, once the combat medic or the engineer gets a gun and they become the combat engineer, they will stick into the combat with everyone else. And a really fun part about the medic that I've really enjoyed, I didn't even really have to mess around with the AI for this. When everyone is attacking together, he will continue to shoot at the enemy just like normal, but the second one of these people takes damage, he'll stop shooting, run over to him, and start healing. It works out great. I'm really happy with how that's gone. Now, as for the next building, we have the garage, and I actually also should point out we can rotate buildings if you do so desire, so let's actually flip that one around there. Excellent. And place the cone over there. Now you can see we've got some upgrades here as well. We do have the transport we can build. Let's build 2. I reached the max population already. Oh wait, I don't even need to do that. I could just upgrade those barracks. There we go, we're good. And let's put in another transport. And you can see I have changed the transport model. It was that blue truck before, but I now have it as this rusted green Humvee. And the first upgrade we have, and why I chose this, is because, well, we can up armor them. And now they all have additional armor, increasing their health, and each one can carry 5 units within it. But as you can see, once we click on these guys, they also have their own independent upgrades. So once they have been armored, and that's a key point there, they have to be armored first, you can add a gun to one of them, or expand the carry capacity of the other, and that adds more of a roof to the back of this so you can fit 2 more personnel in the back. So this one will still be able to hold 5, but also has a gun for defense, and this one can hold 7 total for you to have fun with. And yeah, if we grab that 5, pop them in there, take this other 4, pop them in there, they're all good. They'll go inside, we can go into combat, ride them around, and they're good to go. Now we can also add a group, so I can shift 1, and we have that unit group assigned, so I can click 1 again, they are selected. They can move around, and yeah, I can just kick everyone out of the truck. Unfortunately, that also hasn't been working as well as I'd hoped. They kind of pop into the center of the vehicle. They're supposed to pop out slightly to the side, but that hasn't been working quite right. But yeah, overall, it's been going pretty good. Oh, there are still more buildings to take a look at. The power shed, there we are. So the power shed has to be built inside of our border on the map here. So you can see that's outside of the border there. That is inside, and that, of course, will expand our border there that can be built on. And then we have a tower, which you can build. And a fun thing about both the battle transport here, as well as the tower, you can see that there's a gun on them. And I actually figured out how to get the gun to move independently. So once the shooting does begin, the truck will still turn towards the enemy, but the gun will start moving first. There's still some glitches with it, but all in all, it works mostly how I intended. And yeah, we can grab all of our units. Oh, actually, that one's already shooting. You can see the gun did turn and is firing down upon him. Let's get this truck in on the action, too. Fire, my friend! See, his gun is slightly turning, but that one's buggily doing so. Yeah, I've still got some work to do, most certainly, but, you know, it's working. That guy is down. Lovely. Now, for controlling units, you know, we can select everything. We can click on places of the map for them to go and run to. And currently, in this map, it'll stop the combat once they have killed every one of the enemy. Hello. Oh, and also, I almost forgot about this. We have treasure units. The scavengers can go and grab. So we can grab that, and that'll add to our food, ammo, and scrap pile. And, yeah, it works out quite nicely. Oop, nope, didn't mean to click the flesh. I did add flesh piles over to this side and ammo and such over to this side. Because once this map does get put into the skirmish selector in the main menu, you'll be able to choose what you want to play as. So you'll be able to play as either the zombies over here or the survivors and vice versa. So I've put each of the different resources in those areas. Let's click on our guys here. They've got a zombie coming in from behind. So let's get all the units out. Here we go. Select them all. And fire! Fire at the enemy! There we go. Make that all group 1. And that zombie's down. Perfect. Perfect. So yeah, still definitely some glitches and oddities, but all in all, it's working pretty well, and I'm actually quite happy with how things have gone. So the next 2 weeks, my big goal is to fix the AI. Now, as you can see, I've also kind of been playing around with the UI stuff. Basically, whenever I have some downtime when I can't figure out an issue, I take a little time to myself to work on some UI things. You can see, like, I've got the combat medic symbol here. That was the first attempt at just text, and then I've got, like, the transport ones where I've got an outline one. Still haven't figured out how I want to go for the UI, and that's going to be something that's going to probably be this default UI for a while. But if the next 2 weeks, if I can get the AI functioning properly, by next episode, I may start putting this out to the community to do a little bit of testing. What did they just explode? Uh-huh. That was an odd sound. What did they just explode? Huh. That should have only happened when if like one of the trucks or a building explodes. Did a zombie destroy a building? No, we're good. But yeah, let's just destroy the zombie faction here real quick. They are trying to defend themselves, but poorly so. And we'll destroy the body pile there. And the transport that can't attack does, of course, hang back because he can't fight. Everyone else, though, goes in well. Gotta change these particle effects for the fire. They're, I don't like them. They're just default ones for the time being, and as it takes more damage, there we go, it explodes. And did one survive? Alright, there's gotta be one on the map somewhere that I'm not seeing. Interesting. So either I've royally borked something, which is always a possibility on this, or there's still one who's alive somewhere that I'm not seeing. Oh, wait, no.
At your command, sir.
Interesting. Well, I'm just gonna turn it off then, because I'll have to figure that out later. Good times. So yeah, still a lot to go, still some bugs, a fair few, but the big concern right now is the AI. So that's what I'm going to be working with over the next 2 weeks. The zombie one's the big problem, but the survivor one, it still needs tweaking. I've got to figure out how to better place its buildings. I've already actually worked a bit on that. They used to build all the way out to the end of the border with how it was originally set. Now I have them building a bit more tight in. I've mainly got to change, make it a bit more tight in, as well as changing some of the timers when they start to build buildings. Like you may have noticed earlier, they were building a triage tent first rather than an armory, so I need to change like that to prioritize armory first, then triage, then garage, etc. So there are a fair few things I've got to mess with, but yeah, hopefully by the next developer vlog, I'll have something workable. And that would be pretty great. But that is going to be it for this dev vlog, folks. I'm pretty excited and happy about how things are going. It's all been going a lot better than I thought, frankly. And I can't wait to start working on other maps. I'm not going to work on other maps until I get the AI sorted because I want the AI to be functioning. Then once we'll start working on maps, then I'll start working a bit more on the AI. Any ideas on making the AI look better? I would certainly be open to suggestions. I'm not the most artistically minded person. So, like, for right now, what I'm thinking is, like, moving this stuff down here, making all of the UI a lot smaller, because, yeah, it's just way too big at the moment, I think. And, yeah, the,
Hello.
different icons and such are what I really got to start changing. So, yeah, any opinions on that, I would be very open to hearing.
Hello.
And any opinions in general. I'd like to see what you guys have to think on this so far. I'm pretty excited with how it's going, and hopefully you are all too. But that is going to be it for today, my friends. I hope you all have enjoyed and that you do come back for the next episode when, yeah, hopefully I get all that AI stuff sorted out. But until that time, thank you for watching. And as always, have a good one.